this time, I'd like to invite Jim Gleason to come forward and share a stewardship moment with us in this month of November, as each Sunday we take a special moment for the stewardship emphasis.
In the first book of Peter, chapter 4, verse 10, we're instructed, like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received. Last week, the first week of our campaign, Susan reminded us that God is the owner of everything, that we are stewards and managers of his talents, gifts that he gives us. And that a steward is somebody who, we don't own anything, but we transact business for the true owner. And so, as stewards, we don't own anything, we manage the gifts that God gives us. Now, it's fairly easy to go through the motions of being managers and stewards, and yet deep in our hearts, still think we're the owners. And so, we often take Sunday as an example, okay? You go through a checklist of things. You got up this morning, you got dressed, got ready for church, check. Got in the car, maybe listened to Christian music on your way to church, check. You got here, sat in the sanctuary quietly, meditating, check. All right? You sang with the choir, enthusiastically, check. You give the collection, check. You listen to the sermon, take it all in, check. All through, greeted people, told the pastor how good the sermon was, check. Went downstairs to Koinonia, shared some time, and headed home, and church was over. Double check. But God wants much more of that. He gives us gifts of time and talent. For time, everybody gets the same. It's not something you can really invest because it's transient. Once here, it's gone. But he also gives us talents, and the talents are very different by each individual. And so we can do something to serve and glorify the Lord with the time and talents he's given us. That sounds good, but how do we do that? Simply by using our time and talents to do what God has called us to do. God's people are using their time and their ability to do things that God has called them to do right here. Look around us. Whether it's Rich, so frustratingly with the sound system back there. John, I think we need a new computer back there, honestly. Okay? The choir, Thursday night practicing, coming here and glorifying God both before service and during service. Everybody's giving. I mean, whether it's Ed or Barry making the coffee downstairs, in simple things. Shirley promoting this great program. Each of them giving of their time and talents. Chuck Swindoll provides this observation. Each creature has its own set of capabilities with which it will naturally excel unless it is expected or forced to fill a mold it doesn't fill. A duck is a duck, very good at swimming, not good at climbing. A squirrel, good at climbing, would go nuts in the water. An eagle is graceful in the air, walking on the ground, not so good. A rabbit would beat it, unless, of course, the eagle is hungry. And so what is true of creatures in the forest is true of Christians in God's family. God has not made all of us the same. He never intended us all to be the same. But each in our own way, we can excel with the talents we've been given to make God's body in a Christian life what it can be. I was thinking a number of years ago, at our men's breakfast over at the diner here, Rich was at a time of career change and was challenged with trying to pass the CDL licensing that he needed to be a driver. Mathematics was not his talent. Murph at the breakfast said, well, hey, I was a teacher. I'll tutor you in that. And so if I combine the talents of the two, Rich today has a CDL, is a driver of children all the time. What a great blend of the gifts God has given us. This morning at the 8 o'clock service, as I was sharing this, something else hit me. We're celebrating so many things today. Let's jam one more in. We're using this as Donor Sabbath Day, the day of raising awareness about organ donation. And so there's an insert in your bulletin that I urge you to read. But as I was thinking about this idea of God loaning us his gifts, I thought of the transplant, the heart transplant that I got 21 years ago. Roberto passed on his heart on death to me. It's not mine though, it's on loan. If I don't take those medications, the body says, wait a minute, that's not your heart, and it will be rejected. In a very different sense, Pam, and you know her story about her son Christopher being killed at the age of 13, she had this wonderful life with the gift of Christopher in her life. We are given the gift of family members. We don't know how long. And at the age of 13, God called that gift back. And so, those gifts are precious. As you consider how God has gifted you, think about your time. Think about your talents and abilities and all the ways you could glorify God and be a blessing to this church, especially here at Asbury United Methodist Church. As a faithful steward of God's infinite grace, the challenge is, will you use these gifts God has loaned you to do just that in the coming days? Amen.
Amen. May we continue to worship God as the ushers come forward, as we receive God's tithe in our offerings. Will the ushers please come forward?